Hi, boys and girls. Here we are in the season of autumn, or we can call it fall, either one. And that is when we have all the beautiful colors that come through as the leaves on the trees start to change into those golds and reds and oranges. Those are some of my very, very favorite colors. Then they begin to fall off the trees, and there'll be a lot of raking and blowing the leaves, maybe into big piles, and maybe you'll get to jump in them and make a lot of big crunching sounds. In our story today, there's a character called Fletcher, and Fletcher has a favorite tree, and he's starting to notice that the leaves are changing colors and even falling off, and he's getting very, very worried about his tree. He does not understand why they're falling off like that. So we're going to find out what he's going to do about that, because it's really upsetting him. Now, I know you know all about those falling leaves, but he doesn't quite understand. It's called Fletcher and the Falling Leaves, and it is written by Sarah Rawlinson, and the pictures, they're beautiful pictures with all those colors, is by Tiffany Beek. Let's check this out and see what is going on. Fletcher and the Falling Leaves. The world was changing. Each morning when Fletcher bounded out of his den, everything seemed just a little bit different. The rich green of the forest was turning to dusty gold, and the soft swishing sound of summer was fading to a crinkling whisper. Fletcher's favorite tree looked rather dull and dry and brown. And you look out the window, you'll see that too. Fletcher was beginning to get worried. "I think my tree is sick," said Fletcher. "What's wrong with it?" his mother asked. "Its leaves are turning brown," said Fletcher. "Oh, don't worry, it's only autumn," she said. So Fletcher ran back over to his tree. He patted the rough bark and he said, "Don't worry, it's only autumn. You'll be feeling better soon." He thinks the tree's not feeling good. Oh, poor Fletcher's so worried. But the tree didn't get better, Fletcher noticed. Each day more of the leaves turned brown, and one morning the wind blew a small brown leaf off the branch. Fletcher jumped up, he caught that leaf and very gently put it in his paw. Do you see that leaf coming down? He's gonna catch it. Oh, can you imagine if you had to go catch all the leaves out there? "Don't worry, tree. I've got your leaf. I'll fix it." Fletcher looked around. He picked up a piece of grass and carefully tied that leaf right back onto the branch. Then another gust of wind ruffled Fletcher's fur, and the little leaf shook itself free and fluttered right back down to the ground. Fletcher picked it up again, and he thought very hard. This time he poked the leaf onto a twig and pushed it down firmly. "Now hold on tight," said Fletcher. "No more flying around." The little leaf gave a little rustle in reply. Do you see it sticking right down there on that tree? He poked it on. That was a great idea he had. You think he'll be able to take care of all of them? The next day, a strong wind was blowing through the forest. Fletcher rushed out of his den, ran all the way to his tree. Lots of branches were bare, and the little lost leaves spun everywhere. "Don't worry, tree. I'll catch them for you, I promise." Round and round and round whirled Fletcher after all those swirling leaves. When we have a big windy day, we're going to see all those leaves swirling around too. Leaves? Wonderful! Just what I need for my nest, said the little squirrel. But these belong to the tree, said Fletcher. Don't take them away. The tree doesn't need them anymore, said the squirrel, bounding off. Help! Help! The wind and the squirrel are stealing my leaves. The tree still needs them, he believes, said Fletcher. Leaves? Terrific! Just what I need to keep warm, said the porcupine, rolling around. But these belong to the tree, said Fletcher, plucking the leaves from the porcupine's needles. Not anymore, snuffed the porcupine, and away he rolled. Help! Help! The wind, the squirrel, and the porcupine are stealing our leaves, said Fletcher. They're all finding a reason they need them. They know what's coming with the change of the season. Suddenly, a flock of birds swooped down from the sky. They picked up the leaves in their beaks and poked them onto the tree branches, and soon the tree was leafy again, and Fletcher flopped down and smiled. Thank you, birds, thank you, he gasped as the birds fluttered away. He lay looking up as though the leaves were in the sky, and he drifted off to sleep. They were very helpful. Fletcher's very grateful. But the wind continued to blow, and the branches still danced. The leaves shivered and shook themselves and began to wriggle free. They tossed and they turned and they twitched and they twirled and they tumbled right down to the ground. They brushed Fletcher's ears and his nose and filled his dreams with a whispering sound. That wind got them freed again. When Fletcher woke up, he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of a roof of dancing leaves, all he could see were the bare branches against the sky. Oh, tree, I'm so sorry. All your leaves are gone, gulped Fletcher. But then he saw, high in the branches, one small leaf still holding on. I won't let the wind steal that one, said Fletcher, and he began to climb. He crawled along to the last leaf and held it firmly onto its branch. All day long the wind blew, the branches bounced, and Fletcher held tight. I'll stay with you, leaf, he said. Don't worry. Oh my goodness, he climbed up there and he's hanging on to that leaf. He's not gonna let it get off. But then, with a sudden whoosh of wind, the branch bounced high, and with a plip, the leaf let go and fluttered like a little flag clutched in Fletcher's paw. Not attached to the tree anymore. Fletcher has it. Fletcher looked sadly at the leaf he had promised to save. He carried it carefully down the tree and back to his den. He made a cozy little bed for it and gently tucked it in, but all night long, all he could think of was his tree, all on its own. At dawn, Fletcher tiptoed outside. The wind had finally stopped blowing and the air was cold. The moon still hung in the clear sky and the pale stars glimmered. As he came to his favorite tree, Fletcher saw a magical sight. What do you think it's going to be? Oh my goodness, let's see. The tree was hung with 1,000 icicles, shining silver in the early light. "You are more beautiful than ever," whispered Fletcher. "But are you all right?" A tiny breeze shivered the branches, making sound like laughter. And in the light of the rising sun, the sparkling branches nodded. Fletcher gave his tree a hug, and then he went back to the den for a nice, warm breakfast. That tree, boys and girls, is so sparkly, like ours will get when it's icy and snowy. But we can wait a little while for that and just enjoy our autumn, can't we? So you see, boys and girls, Fletcher was so very worried about that tree. But we know there are 4 seasons. There's winter, and then we go into spring, and then summer, and our season now autumn, or we can call it fall. Now, we know in the winter the branches are very bare. That's why he could see all the ice and the snow on there. And then in the spring, oh, we're so excited when we see all those buds starting to form. And then in the summer, oh my goodness, the trees are just covered with leaves. And when it's a hot day, you can go under there for a little shade and to get cool. And then in the autumn, they start to fall. Well, now we are in the season of autumn, and the leaves are changing because there's less sunlight, temperatures are getting cooler, and the leaves need sunlight, and they need air, and they need water, and they need chlorophyll to make their food, sugar. And the sugar is for the tree. Now the leaves stop making that food, and so the chlorophyll, the green color that's in the leaves, that fades away, and that's why we're seeing all these beautiful colors that are coming out in the fall. Just like the bears hibernate, the trees in the wintertime take a long sleep. And then in the spring, when they wake up, oh my goodness, then they're drinking all that water in their roots, and then the leaves, the little buds start to form, and then the tree awakens and it begins to grow again. Isn't nature wonderful? Didn't God give us such wonderful gifts to watch all of the changes that we see in nature? So when you're taking a walk, be sure to look around at all the colors, all the things that are growing, and right now, all the things that are changing. Enjoy that walk and be sure to say, "Thank you, God, this is really a beautiful world." Until then, I'll see you next week. So bye now.